Thank you. And now we have the next person we are having here is Nathalie Lautenbacher, and where she says that she wants to add the comfort for everyday life with her works. Natalie is definitely one of the leading ceramists in Finland, and what is so exciting with her works is that when you get her pieces and see them, just kind of eventually it's a kind of, it's not, you are not seeing a table setting of things. You see actual individual pieces who actually, I think they're so poetic together. Just kind of actually they are just creating a world. They're talking to each other. It really feels that way, and the elegance in the craftsmanship, it's magical. It's a kind of the lightness of your ceramics and the color shades what you're using. There are a huge group of fans and community of her works who are just collecting. They're collecting your tableware, but they're also collecting them to their children. We see like generations coming to your works. It's just, they're very, very beautiful, and I really hope that.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. My name is Nathalie Lautenbacher. I'm a ceramist, designer, and also lecturer at Aalto University. I actually would like today to talk a little bit, not only about my own work, but also to give you a little glimpse of what's up in the ceramics field in Aalto University, because we've just finished a large project. It's called Solid Ground. Solid ground in Finnish is kantava maa. Kantava maa, the Finnish word means the ground that holds us. When we work with ceramics, we use this earth crust as a material for our works. And this is what we don't really pay attention to every day when we walk on this stony ground, the stony earth. I will tell you also a little bit of my own works and my inspirations. But where does it all start from? I start with a quote from the book we published recently. It's a quote by professor in sustainable consumption, Mikko Jalas. I think he puts it really nicely, that for humans, the meaning of life is actually to create, to produce, and to adapt their circumstances. Life equals tools. We are our tools, and we are our environment controlled through those tools. I think as a ceramist that we also understand the world with our tools. The quote was from the book Solid Ground, and in the book we are intertwining essays from different writers, mostly not ceramists, but people from very different fields. We wanted to place them together with ceramic works from Aalto alumni, archive pieces, researchers and current teachers and students' works together, to give in a way a new perspective to the questions that are in ceramics somehow, some of them really archaic things, if you think of a pot, but at the same time very topical, because they are very important today too. All starts from the matter and the metamorphosis. What do we do with the matter? We asked a cosmologist, Kari Enqvist, where does the matter actually come from? It comes from stardust. He said that atoms do never disappear. Therefore, even the most undervalued clay is actually a cosmic miracle. The cosmologist said very poetically that when we mold these minerals, we actually work with eternity. He also said in some mails we wrote when I was asking him to come and write in this book, he said that yes, actually ceramics is very interesting, because when you think of it, it's actually art made from stardust. He says also, thanks to human, the ancient stars do not remain dead. they go on living in our hands. We make them back to life in the new forms and new locations in space. With a new form, we give stardust a new function, new aesthetics, and a selection of new meanings that twinkle bright in our consciousness. I think this is what our students do when they go deep to examine materials. Here's, for example, a piece from a student who tried to find a new use for the reject of industry, of tableware industry. It is crushed plates from Arabia that didn't sell because they were wrong colored. They were brown tema plates. They were crushed and reused in the clay body. Students can feel like little alchemists of today in the ceramic laboratory, because anything can actually happen in the firing and in the kiln. And these cracks and mistakes, these side tracks that come, they are really valuable information that bring us in finding new paths in the material research. On the other hand, one example of like quite high-tech mixing old and new technologies, Barbara Janssen's work, that is amazing landscape from inside a plant. It's microscopic picture of a plant and 3D printed in a silicon mold and then casted in traditional slip porcelain clay. One subject that cannot be avoided is the pot, contemporary vases in ceramics. It's an archaic subject, but I think it has something really genuine as a subject, because so many ceramists year after year, contemporary ones, go back to this subject. The pot has something, it's about preserving ideas, preserving things. Of course, we don't use them anymore for hunting seals as the ones we can see in the museum from prehistoric times. But we still go back to this subject of an object having an inside and an outside. It's like a shelter, like this room we are now. I am inside, like inside a pot, very comfortably. It's a very safe place to be. One Finnish linguist, a current one, told me that pata is actually, is probably the oldest name for describing a Finnish pot. It's quite interesting that it is not related to the English word pot or French le pot. It's not from Latin, but it's actually a Finno-Ugrian word that just resembles it. And it just tells us how the subject has been found. It's a prehistoric insight that vessels have been fired, and it's an invention that has been made all over the world in different eras and different times, in different cultures. I really think that working with ceramics connects us to previous generations, and it grounds us. One example of an interpretation of a pot from a very long time teacher, Kylikki Salmenhaara, from the 50s. This is from the school archives. And very contemporary ones from Riska and Kulju. All of these works that I'm showing you here in the beginning were part of this exhibition that we had related to the book Solid Ground. It finished a couple of weeks ago. Through this exhibition, we really wanted to show the variety of the material and try to answer to the question, what is behind the attraction of ceramics, a 10,000 years material? One subject, very important one too, is ceramics in architecture. It's one that I'm very interested in myself too, making mostly tableware myself, but I'm more and more interested in putting stuff and ceramics on the walls. Ceramics in architecture is topical in the sense that there is a huge boom of brick building in Finland. Many of the Helsinki quarters are now they are all brick buildings. And on the other hand, public art has risen really a lot, and ceramics, of course, is a very suitable material in that. So it has brought very nice new opportunities to ceramists to work on larger surfaces. We do this at university too. This is an example from a student that when we have these tasks during the studies, I think it's really going back to the basics of design, thinking of the structure, the material qualities, and the compositions of these objects. As Harri Kalha, art historian, said that they look like unlike a plain wall, ceramic wall can feel like it could be eatable, and it's a very nice example of an eatable wall. This beautiful garden from Ville Heimala. Food and crafts is my personal favorite subject, as I do tableware myself. It has a lot to do with emotion too, but you might know that, or you might have noticed, many of you, that Finnish food culture has become really, really lively, much more livelier in the past decades. And this has given a nice opportunity also for ceramists to be involved in many restaurant projects, as many restaurateurs really appreciated that ceramics, you know where it comes from the studio nearby, and it is custom made, custom designed for a certain dish and a certain restaurant. That's, by the way, my first rye bread I tried to cook, I think 3 years ago, and it got so hard in the firing that I just saved it as a dry bread. But again, a beautiful example of this type of work. When a tableware is made by hand, it becomes even more personal. Tableware somehow is it's part of us. It's like clothes, and when it's done by hand, it can be also very, very intimate object when you take it to the mouth and you hold it in your hands. Harri Kalha, historian, has said a beautiful words. I go to the next subject that is very much related to tableware and the emotion in design. There is this emotional aspect that when you get attached to an object for any reason, aesthetic, because you got it from someone you like, or because it's unfunctional but it's still beautiful, or it's very functional, for any reason, if you get really attached to it, you also take very good care of it. And that is why emotional part of it makes it also more sustainable and long living. But a professor in Aalto University who's really doing research in service design and emotional design did her research on this and noticed that object seemed to be meaningful through people who are attached to them by situations, episodes in life, or momentary insights and learning. Objects were occasionally even perceived as life partners. So the project and the book about ceramics was really about thinking of different angles to these few. We had much more subjects, of course, but I just picked a few that are especially important for myself, that I relate to in my own work. Looking from a different perspective, from a different angle, I think it is really the way of the day. And like here, looking at maybe the universe, or this could be a satellite picture from the globe, from the Earth. But no, actually it's from the bottom of a bucket, a clay bucket, before mixing it. So now I invite you just to have a glimpse into my own studio that's situated nearby Helsinki. This is my own clay bucket, just before mixing the slip clay. It actually resembles a lot the sourdough that I use for cooking bread or yeast at this stage. It's really a lot of hard work to do ceramics. What I use as a technique is mostly casting, slip casting. I make the models usually by plaster and then the molds out of plaster, and the slip clay is poured into the molds and then poured out of it. That's how the shape is given to the objects. It can be very thin in this technique, which I really like. I really like the monotony of the work, that it is actually, you have spots where you just can do nothing else but wait for the clay to settle. And you cannot speed the process. It slows one down in a way. At the same time, you feel alive because you are working with such a concrete material from the earth. Then comes the finishing, the glazing, a second firing, then the grinding after the firing, then the stocking of the works, and then the packing and packing and packing. And it is totally silly how much time packing takes compared to the time you used for making these actual objects when you need to send abroad. I really like to sell to people nearby and avoid the hours and days of packing and putting in a box and shipping the stuff. So in that sense, local production is really really good too. Then to my works, for me the colors are really important. Actually, it's really simple things. It's the color combination, the matte and shiny surfaces, very simple shapes, and lots of gray shades and a few colors coming now and then. The production is done really slowly, in a sense that I design maybe 1 or 2 objects every year, maybe nowadays even more slowly, one new design in 2 years, and they fit in the previous family. It becomes a growing family of objects and shapes. These were originally picnic sets, in a way imaginary picnic sets, because I don't think that anyone seriously would put ceramic cups and fragile glasses inside these boxes. But for me, it's the idea of that possibility to go to the mountain and have a ceramic bento box with me and share this moment with someone I love. Because that is the true luxury, actually, to go for a picnic outside and just look at the scenery. I got somehow a bit obsessed about spoons some years ago. I was looking at this item as a really fascinating item that exists almost in every culture. Looking in museums at, for example, bamboo matcha teaspoons that are really beautiful, or from the Sami culture, the reindeer bone, carved reindeer bone spoons that have beautiful little images showing the life of the Lappish people. And I did installations of spoons. Sometimes they also broke, and then I still want to use them, and these spoons were then fixed in a way that they went on the wall. They are wall spoons. I like quite a lot nowadays to use also the rejects of my own production. Things that are broken are still usable many times. Going back to pots is very important for me too, but I really don't have much time to do that. It's something that I long to all the time, because making pots needs really a lot of time. It's like taking care of a pet, because you have to really follow the drying process and continue one coil the next day and not leave it for a week. It's something I really would like to do more in larger scale, and I do it every now and then. These are called heavy burdens and traveling light. Traveling light, the Finnish for that is kevyet kantamukset. It means more like very light things to carry with you. It's a beautiful thought, I think, that you can go for a journey and have almost nothing with you. It's also a novel from Tove Jansson, Finnish writer, whom I very much appreciate. The name of the novel was Traveling Light Burdens. With my partner, Naoto Niidome, we've worked on larger installations too. The most beautiful place we know is a forest. We like the mountains and we like the seaside every now and then, but the forest is the place that we really go back to time after time. And we did this artificial pink or nude color forest inside a large box and filled it with small cups that are like eggshells. And it's something has happened in this forest, something we cannot explain, but is it man that has filled it with something man-made, or is it something that is brought for, it's maybe a place for animals to drink from these small cups. After doing it once, we had 5,500 cups. So we decided to use them again and again in different shapes. And stocking these cups in the studio came one part of the work. Always, they are now in small boxes under my tables in my studio, but they've been to several exhibitions and always in a new shape. As stocking has become part of it, it's like this work in the Design Museum was showing, it was looking like a big shipment container, and commenting the huge industry, the first of all mass production of stuff, and the fact that these objects travel from one part of the world to the other. The fragility and strong character of egg shells looking ceramics somehow fascinates us. They are fragile, but they are sharp in edges, and they are actually really, really strong. As I told you, I've been climbing to the walls with my works lately. I've done tiles, although this piece has been done fired in a wood fire, where the tuhka, I'm looking for, thank you. I'm looking for the words, the ash from the firing flies in the kiln and comes down on the ceramics and sticks to it. Although this is done in huge temperatures, I think it looks like from beneath the sea, and that is why I gave it the name korai, which means coral. I do these works very spontaneously, just making color compositions with these glazes and others, and I give very quickly the names to them, thinking of the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm like happy with a piece. Here is coquillage, which means seashells, and spring. I think there is some spring light in the right one. And any inevitability of things breaking is very fascinating to me, because this is something that happens through the production many times. And I want to save these pieces and look what I can do from them. Like this it could be a boat or a cradle that has cracked, and putting clay that I don't fire, it starts leaking from it, and I think that it's about the breakability of everything, and the ephemerality of everything in the world. That is something in a way beautiful to look when the cracks come. It's a subject that I've been working on lately. The current work that is now in Espoo art museum is a video about this process of breaking unfired pieces, my basic tableware, with water, pouring water in them and letting them melt onto the table. So in this piece, something dramatic has happened, making this table setting, like a family gathering or a feast starting, but suddenly all the tableware has been starting to melt on the table. The video is showing it. I have just a few pictures here to show you the beginning where water is placed. You don't see it, it's inside the tableware. And this is what happens after a few minutes. And then it dries. And the drying and cracks, I think, look very interesting. This is the final, a little detail of the final table setting. This was my final picture. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalie. So what do you think about Lee, the ceramist here?
Yeah, I'm enjoying every bit of it because, you know, both Philip and me, we are collectors of ceramic. If only I could show you my kitchen.
The Zoom screen isn't big enough.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we hugely enjoy, and we are part of that movement, and we believe it to become more and more important. I love the idea of it to be so nearby. I love it to be so local. I love it, you know, to come from the earth. I think it's so important now. The soil is really where we all come from, and so I think the soil is becoming more important.
Yeah.
No, it's very hugely inspiring, and I like also, of course, the fact that we see student work, which is always
yeah,
enlightening. Yeah, thank you.
That's an
Thank you very
exhibition
much.
to travel. That show from Aalto should really travel the world. So
yeah, I
regular.
agree. It was really a big work to do, to show. We had actually 7 different exhibitions inside the building in our current campus in Otaniemi, and I agree that we would really like to show it abroad too. Really nice work students do.
Yeah, but it feels also that ceramics is coming back somehow as an art form, but also like in different kind of also, but obviously like in your everyday life as well, when you are thinking, what are you going to keep for in your life? And this whole mass production is everything looks similar at the end. Yeah. And having like the small mistake, like the kind of somehow they're so much more human when they're together, these pieces. But yeah, thank you so much, Natalie. It was a huge pleasure it's a huge pleasure that you could join us, and I know you have been super busy.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, there are a lot of friends already who are coming and looking at the pieces we are having here. We are super happy for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.